Let's take a deep breath. Maybe one more deep breath in through the nose. And hold. And let it go. Beautiful. Last one. Deep breath in. More air through a straw. Hold. And let it go.
Yeah.
We're back with another episode with your co-host, Blossom Baby, and
Dr. Charlie in the
let's go.
house.
Blang, 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 blang. Give us the sound effect.
Oh, wait. No.
Bong, biggity.
Absolutely, yes.
Bong.
Here we go, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Medicine from Our
Bong,
Hands.
bong, bong, biggity, bing.
Yeah. Hope you guys are all set for today's topics. We're going to go and hit it hard again. We're ready. I think we've had some deeper discussions where we're ready to go a little deeper into the medicine space, addressing some of the issues around the medical healthcare space. So hope you guys are ready to hit that hard, because I think we are where we are today because of the current system of our medical healthcare.
But thank God for medicine. Am I right?
Yes. Thank God for medicine.
Thank God.
So the deeper topic is I've been on social media, and I've been kind of paying attention to this just because one of our groups, our fellowship, a Cultivating Self Fellowship nonprofit that supports healing the healers, we're running into a lot of nurses leaving healthcare spaces. And that's been really, really big in the last 2-3 years. I think since COVID, things just got a lot worse. And I wanted to kind of bring up this deeper conversation around it. So here we are, kind of doing a Google search real quick. You know, you can say in the last 5 years, approximately 138,000 registered nurses have left the workforce since 2022, with a projection indicating that another 900,000 nurses, y'all, that's almost 1 million nurses, may leave by 2027. Like, that number from 138 to 900 is way bigger.
Wow.
And we're talking about around 40% of nurses surveyed in 2024 indicated they plan to leave within the next 5 years, citing stress, burnout, workload, and understaffing as primary reasons. So if you can see the key statistics here, you see the reason for leaving is really stress and burnout, heavy workload, understaffing, inadequate salary and benefits, and retirement. And so this is kind of like also new nurse turnovers, right? So that's a huge high turnover concerning new nurses. Up to 33% of them are leaving within 2 years. So they're already spending, I don't know, 8 years in healthcare school to be a nurse practitioner. And within 2 years, they're leaving. I mean, that's a really, really big problem. Now, I've been looking online, watching some videos, and most of these nurses who are leaving are at least 10 to 15 years into the industry, and they're choosing to leave. That means that we're not going to get the 20 plus year nurses anymore, which is fundamentally a big problem, because when new nurses come in, they're not getting the download and the information that the previous nurses who probably was there for 10 years have and understand how the system works. So that's really a big problem, y'all, in healthcare. And not just that, we're talking about nurses, right? So I'm pretty sure once the nurses go, healthcare gets worse. You know, those doctors are not showing up to deal with bedpans and cleaning out people and helping people in the everyday space, right? Those doctors are still going to stick in their office, come out for 30 minutes just to look at your lab work and kind of leave. So nurses leaving is a big deal. I think that's pretty much the biggest aspect of hospital care is nurses. So I think that's a huge deal in healthcare. And if you were to have a deeper conversation in healthcare in general, what we're finding is there's a fluctuation in healthcare layoffs. There's significant cuts into 2023 and 2024, including substantial increase over the previous year. So we're looking at increased layoffs here. We're talking about 60,000 workers getting laid off. We're talking about job cuts everywhere, continued layoffs in 2025. So the federal agencies are also undergoing restructuring. Department of Health and Human Services cutting 10,000 positions as a part of major restructuring. And the Department of Veteran Affairs also implementing staffing reduction. We're already not getting much help for veterans, but now we're cutting even more. So you could see reasons for layoff. We're already in financial pressures. We're at what's it called, inflation year. So we're going already into our recession days. Strategic shifts. So layoffs have resulted in organization exiting certain markets, such as UC Care exiting the Medicare Advantage market, which is big. I mean, right now we're dealing with Medicare, Medicaid being restructured. So it's a deeper conversation we could have. And then I think the major restructuring is kind of this deeper conversation that we're having with vaccination. I mean, it's not the only conversation, but RFK Jr. is really hitting vaccines really hard right now in Congress, and to try to like call pharma for all the vaccines and lack of research and testing that they've done in their vaccination process. So these two things alone show that there's a huge problem in the healthcare industry. And I don't know that most people recognize that this is a problem. This is kind of like, we just had a shutdown, right? A shutdown of the American government, and it came back, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Some of us experienced problems around that. Some people didn't, right? So clearly, conversation is, where is this American shutdown really shutting down real, actual problems in this country, right? Because maybe we're shutting down corruption. We don't know. But really, healthcare is a major, deeper conversation. And before even finishing this thought process, I kind of wanted to go deeper into vaccine schedule, because it is one of the topics I did want to bring up, because it is a very, very big problem when we talk about children. This is the current schedule, 2023 recommended immunization record for children through 6 years old. That means that before 6 years old, your child is getting this many vaccines. So right here at 2 months, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 vaccination in 2 months. And it's not like you can go, okay, in month 3, can I split that between 3 in month 2 and 3 in month 3? And then in month 4, I have another 5 doses. And then month 6, I have a third dose of many of these vaccines. Look at these vaccines. PCV goes out all the way to 18 months. We're talking about RV, DT. I don't even know these vaccines, but this is pretty bad. And this shows us clearly that there's a major problem in supporting children correctly. And this is the deeper conversation we're having, because this is what we're in. We're in the business of bringing children into the world and making sure that we have good fucking parents with them, okay? None of this bullshit one-parent families. We got to break that, y'all. It's really frustrating that a lot of children issues, children not being protected and taken care of shows up because we don't have full families. We don't have both parents involved in protecting the child. So I find that, and even today, I don't think that parents are educated enough in this vaccine schedule. And so a lot of times it happens way too late. By that time, like, once you've inducted your child, like, you can't go, hey, I want a refund. No, that vaccine's already in the body. So, this is one of the major conversation where, for me, if I were to even bring a child into this world, I would not bring them through the hospital setting because of this problem right here that we are facing now as a country, because we are addressing pharmaceuticals and their heavy involvement in medical healthcare systems. So this is one of the many factors that is plaguing healthcare. I'm not going to say this is the only one. I think this is just a major one, that why we have chosen to create a healthcare system that is going to provide children and parents the best care they need to provide these families for the most potential support they can get to become the most fully potentialed humans, I believe. So, this is one topic conversation that we want to address today, just because we're really hitting the healthcare space a lot harder today, just because I think we've been playing it soft-handed, just because it's really hard to kind of go in after an entire healthcare industry slash pharma industry. It is not just healthcare; it is pharma, big pharma involved as well, because they are the suppliers to these vaccines. So I'll stop there and kind of get us into the conversation of what this means for us. But Blossom, you are doula, and this is in your purview of why you are choosing to be involved, and really, and what's it called? Intervention for children, right?
Protect the children. Tell the children the truth. Can we take a deep breath? I think the best and only way to solve this is with breath. I think mouth breathing humans need to sit down and nasal breathe. There's so many fish to fry.
So yummy, though.
Of course. How do I feel about this? It's unfortunate. Those in the business of service and care of other humans, children, babies, face the most burnout and are the front lines always. There's gotta be a better reciprocity for these beautiful souls. I've had the privilege of having incredible nurses and doctors in my lifetime. What a gift. It's why America triumphs third world countries, because we have medical systems. But I say that to say nurses are doulas, allies, and armor bearers and friends. And so I think there needs to be a reckoning, a retreat for nurses, a place where they can go get the love that they give. Because until then, we'll just continue to see a max exodus leaving, because there's nothing enticing. I'm feeding you. You're biting my hand. Well, then I'll just take my hand back and take my other hand and go this way. So I get both sides. Well, I get nurses, I get the healthcare system, and I get why they're leaving. But my role as a doula in community is to create safe spaces for nurses to vent, to drum, to heal, to eat. Because the thing is, we need them, and they know why they do the work that they do. But without someone intervening and having an intervention for healthcare service workers or the healthcare industry, it's just going to continue to dissolve until it falls away.
Yeah, I think many, and I've interviewed a nurse in my show podcast before, and so many of the things that we run into is nurses do not, they are also originally the advocates for a lot of this medicine, but they're the ones watching patients take this prescription, this medicine. And some of them will actually prescribe this medicine as well, because obviously if you're a nurse and you're going through whatever issues you're running into, whether it's stress, whether it's mental issues, guess what? You're getting prescribed. You're getting prescribed the same things doctors are prescribing their patients, right? And so what's happening is a lot of these nurses are recognizing they're not getting any help from the prescription that is being offered to their patients and to themselves. So many of them are leaving the space, or I find a lot more in the alternative wellness space, I find way more nurse practitioners who've left the bedside to actually practice things such as Reiki, sound healing, um, other modalities. Well, I know many nurses who have
Wow.
come to traditional Chinese medicine or even Ayurveda because they are getting some kind of relief. Even just many of them are going to meditation, learning how to reset the nervous system, which you're not even taught in medical school, yet you are living in full on stress when we're in these hospital settings,
Wow.
right?
That's amazing. Good for them. Whoever you are, nurses that you've turned a leaf and you've taken the love and you've changed it into another modality. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. And I bet you could see if you were to go into wellness space, ask how many of them were nurse practitioners, right?
In
And,
wellness
and so
spaces.
did you know like actually the wellness industry is the biggest industry growing right now. It's $1 billion
Yeah.
industry. So that's why we see I'm jokingly saying this, but not. You have all these great retreat centers in places like Costa Rica and Hawaii because it's a wellness industry. So you see the advent of biohacking conferences. You're seeing the advent of like medical tech advances, which is being thrown into the wellness space. So like the saunas about 15, 20 years ago, we were a big deal. And so we started to see a lot of at-home, one-person self-saunas, right? Because before, back in the days, saunas were actually it's a small room, like this room right now, and you would have like 7, 8 people half naked, like chilling in that sauna because the sauna was really good in terms of medical practice or healing the body. And then that space, was the gym space. But what happened is this sauna space became a prescription or a healing modality that you had in a wellness center now, where they were having massages and then you have a sauna. So you could actually go into sauna for 15, 20 minutes. What we talk about in Chinese medicine, you're building up qi, you're moving blood, and the blood is circulating, causing regeneration. And then you hop on into a table and you get a massage where the blood's moving now, so it's much easier to kind of open up knots. So now you're seeing how like a sauna with a massage could probably, most likely, and definitely does remove pain that wasn't able to be processed or dealt with in hospitals, right? And a lot of today's pain, I find, because I do a lot of pain management with people, whether it's with needles, acupressure, massage, or what we call tuina, most of the pain issues is recurrent movements. So neck issues are a common one is because we're on our phones with our necks forward. We have our we have the shoulders up tight as we're typing. So that's like I call shoulder trap, computer shoulders, right? And all those are just repetitive actions that we take in the workforce, right? As a chef, I'm sure you stand up a lot, so your legs get tired. You got chops, so your right arm is probably like managing
or trigger fingers,
fingers.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, because you're constantly doing that same repetitive action. Yeah. And so we saw the opioid crisis because the opioid crisis was trying to deal with pain that people weren't doing. And so now you see this huge movement into body work, right? Where we used to call it massage, but the problem with massage and pornography is that everybody assumes massage is a happy ending and a sexual term, rather than massage is actually athletic body work, right? Athletes get body work, yet who says a farmer is not an athlete? A chef is not an athlete. A doctor is not an athlete. Nurses running around taking care of people, they're athletes. But because a basketball, football player is getting so much money, they're getting the massage. They're getting the sauna. They're getting the cold plunges. Like wellness medicine in athleticism is a huge deal. Because they know that they have to get those bodies back up to shape. So wellness in sports has been around for a while because they have the money. And so what happened is a lot of people were like, hey, we need a sauna. But like, I'm not going to get an athletic level sauna. Like my patients here are just Joe Schmo cooking, Joe Schmo farming, and Joe Schmo, teacher. they don't have the budget to get these crazy athletic saunas or, gym membership. So they go to these wellness centers, they get a massage, and then they go to the sauna, right? And so that experience blew up, and now we're seeing cold plunges being added to it. We're seeing Reiki being added to. We're seeing sound bath. I mean, I'm being asked as a traditional Chinese medicine to be brought into some of these places because a lot of our what we call dry needling, which is needles for the muscles, is now chiropractors and doctors are getting certified to put needles to deal with pain and trigger points. So really, for them to address pain, instead of going to the massage and sending people to body work, they're now saying, hey, we can do needles, dry needling now. And so they're taking our medicine, chopping it up, and then saying, hey, we do dry needling, but your acupuncture with the fact that it helps with mental disorders and your body functions or your organs, we don't believe in that. We only believe in the dry needling. Again, what I call the yogified our medicine by saying, oh no, we're only going to take the needles for muscles. We don't need the muscles for meridians, organs, and mental disorders. So now you're seeing how there's a lot of pushback now because a wellness space is blowing up because many people are now realizing that is where preventative medicine is showing up. It is the I'm not going to say cold plunge in general, but it is the saunas, it is the body work, it is the Reiki, it is the sound bath that's actually giving people regenerative, preventative, or really regenerative medicine that's helping them rebuild their bodies so that they have resilience to fight off every diseases that comes their way. So ironically, even breathwork is being introduced in these wellness spaces now, right? So these wellness spaces are really, really big, yet you're now seeing healthcare being destroyed, right? Not being destroyed, that's a very harsh term, but it's definitely falling apart, and that I think is the deeper conversation we're here to have, because I think with wellness leaving the hospital space, I believe that we are also a doula and a fertility doctor leaving the hospital space to possibly create birthing centers, create parent shelters, so that not shelters, that sounds really bad, but parent hospital or resting places where we can actually heal the divine masculine and feminine together, maybe with their children.
And it's literally a place that's like side of the road, catch your breath. Here you can get a sound bath. Here you can get maybe a warm bite to eat. Here you can get love, support, a hug. People just need, I don't know what you call them, but in a marathon, when you have the supporters with
the water on the side,
they're called something, I think.
Yeah.
But them,
the water stations, hydration stations.
Yeah, but people just cheering the people on running for the sake of cheering them on because they know their journey is long. And I've always wanted to create a space like that for parents because they deserve. It's not just carpool line or rise, breakfast, carpool, work, home, rinse, repeat. Like parents can catch a break too.
Yeah. I wanted to adjust you real quick to make sure we see your face.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel.
Actually, let's do it this way because I want to make sure we hear you. And
Okay.
You're not covering
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
So that's why our roles are super important, and this is why I'm very passionate about talking about my birth work. It's not just doula, it's womb work, it's birth support, it's prenatal support, it's postpartum support, it's transitioning support, it's infant loss support. It's many different roles. It manifests in maybe services or sound healing or food, but we all need to be taking better care of our bodies. If this be the only body in this experience in this lifetime we have, sweep it, mop it, purge it, fast with it, eat well with it, exercise it, dance with it. When you live a full life, you can't help but be healthy because it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like if you look at the body, thank God we just have two eyes. Like, you know, and like some people just have one. Some people are blind. Some people are colorblind. The point is, if eyeballs made up our entire body, how would we walk? It would hurt to walk. Every gravel, every sand would be in the eye. So appreciate loving every part of every body, putting everything together is why we have to focus on mind, body, spirit, and holistic healing. Because sometimes people can only heal emotionally if they are like not hungry. Sometimes when people are hungry, they can't regulate their breath. Like everything goes. So having a respite spot, not just for parents, for humans, children, kids. Sometimes I help teach kids painting at different elementary schools. Sometimes I just look at kids and I'm like, man, I remember when being a kid, like that was tough. Like I remember having a hard day, feeling like I worked a 9 to 5 as a kid, and now I see kids like living that, and I think every human should have a space that's not their home, that's not their friend's home, that's not a movie theater, it's not a restaurant, that you can just go and like chill, and then like be rejuvenated and go about your day.
That sounds really awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for summer camp. You don't have to wait for, going to the beach. That would be nice. Love it. Galveston is just an hour. I want something that's right there. I kind of experienced something like this. Jasmine Lynch, shout out to you, goddess. She owns a wellness studio in Third Ward, and I popped in. She invited me, and there was these high vibrational octave chairs that we meditated with, and we all kind of shared and we meditated together, and it was beautiful. But the best way I can explain it was like impromptu church I was invited to that had no religious doctrine, just spirit, just kind. An activity we did was she wanted, because it's just opening, she wanted us all to be a part of making the space, and one of the spaces is like a Zen meditative garden walk. So she had these river rocks, and we had these markers, and she asked us all to write our favorite affirmations on these rocks. So mine was "I am healed." And it was really nice to like see a manifestation of something a mantra I repeat to myself. But then in the pile amongst other rocks, and I am pure, I am beautiful, I am lovely. And I just felt like Third Ward needed this, Houston needed it, I needed it. It was so unexpected. I was just in the neighborhood. But it's that feeling, and I'm so happy and proud of her. But I think we should just have more spaces like that in general.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel, again, I think this is the wellness industry, right? So she's representing a wellness space in her own style and theme, right? She chose these beautiful seats that are part of her healing process, right? And I think what's happening now is there's so many new wellness centers opening up that have different healers that believe in different modalities, and then I would say the modalities adjacent to those, right, that are very synergistic to each other. And so, like I've been at Aura, but I've been in different places. I've been in this more popping up, but there's also some closing down because it is a tricky business, because I find that a lot of people who are opening up these wellness centers, half of them you could say are spiritually inclined and like to be in a spiritual space. And then there are half of them who are seeing this as a business. And what's really interesting, those who see it as a business tend to have a lot less of the spiritual awareness, but they tend to kind of like follow the process of just building a brick and mortar or building a business, and then they're doing what people are looking for, and then they're adding the spirituality sprinkling it here and there. And that's a very interesting model, and it seems to work really well here in Houston. Radiant Vita Spa is one of them, right? Her focus is really beauty spa, yet she brings the spirituality secondhand, right? So it's not like, hey, come to this spiritual metaphysical spa. It's just straight up like beautiful spa to help to deal with things, and then it brings in the spiritual stuff. Versus, I worked at a metaphysical holistic center, and it was in Spring, right, north of Houston, which we are getting a lot of people who are Reiki spiritually inclined there, but heavy Christian groups of people, right? So we're in the South, and there's still a heavy Christian religious group out here, and they might be spiritual. I say that with an asterisk, right? But not all of them are. And so what happens is you kind of experience what I call the old stuff of like, oh, you guys are witches. You guys use tarot cards. Us Christians don't use these tools of the devil, right? And it's like, oh my God, are we going back to like 18th century, witchcraft, things where we're just demonizing things we don't understand. And so what's really beautiful is we're seeing so many different wellness centers popping up, and so many of us are basically creating relationship with these places to bring all of our modalities, because I know not a lot of these wellness spaces are not running with acupuncturists in mind, right? But I can actually come in and work with them and say, hey, how can I support your clients with this additional acupuncture process if that's what you're looking for? And so what I'm starting to realize for me as a alternative healer, it's funny that we have to say that. I get to choose the different places that I am connected to and working with to support their clients and their patients that come into that center. And so I bring in my own perspective of things, but then, I know that I can work with multiple modalities and say, hey, actually, you have deep spiritual trauma. Maybe you can actually do a QHHT session, a past life regression session, because you might be stuck on some previous lifetime karma, right? I've run into this many times, and then they come back to me and say, thank you, that helped a lot, but now I'm running into this. I'm like, oh, good. Now this is a physical problem. Let us address it physically. But because I understand that there is a spiritual component to the manifestation of physicality, we talk a lot about this with birthmarks. There's karmic lines connected to some of the physical, like birthmarks. So understanding some people.
What do you know?
Yeah, so sometimes some markings show up as like being killed in that spot, being jabbed. Many of us were hung and burned for being witches or warlocks. No, wizards and witches. And so we carry a lot of these physical symptoms. So like my sister actually has this crazy line on her neck, right? And we're like, where's that line from? And so she did a reading, and she's like, yeah, you've been hung many times for the shit that you do. That's why you're very careful on the shit you say, because you're so afraid that someone's just going to hang you for what you say.
What?
Yeah, many of us feel that way. And so what I'm
Wow.
trying to say is many of the healing that we're really experiencing are spiritual in the sense that our eternal soul has been reborn into this body, but it is experiencing and expressing these karmic issues. And so I know that I'm not going to sit down and start trying to open that up for them, because I'm not certified in working with people in their psyche through a hypnotherapy session. So I have those people to work with. I do Reiki as well, but when it comes down to doing Reiki surgery and calling in guides to do some possessions, sometimes end up requiring heavy spiritual protocols to remove entities. I don't have the protocols, but I do work with people who understand these protocols, who do exorcisms. And so I have in my own Reiki practice support the action of exorcism if they're needed, right? So really, I'm showing up as someone who understands the different modalities, but I'm not trying to say I know all modalities. I just know enough of what I'm really passionate about, and I provide that in the journey that a patient may be running into in their whole life, right? So really, a lot of times what I run into is people who are ready to have kids, who are looking for conception. There are spiritual cords sometimes connected to them for not being able to have kids or having issues with kids, or one of their past life children are trying to come through, but they're saying you need to deal with your shit first before your body's ready for me to come through. This happens many times. We've run into women who were not able to carry a term to full term, and sometimes a child comes in a psychic form and say, hey, your body wasn't ready, I need you to do the work. Guess what? Those mothers are confused. They don't know what to do. A fucking psychic person and a psychic kid who's coming through told them their body's not ready to bring their, I'm pretty sure, high vibrational kid through. And so that's when they look for people like us who say, hey, I am trying to bring a high vibrational kid through. I'm doing my work, but apparently my body's not ready for it. And so this is a deeper conversation where both Blossom can process and support the mother, but I'm able to process the man, the father. And that's a very deep conversation we need to have, y'all. We should not be having children without both parents. And if we don't, we should be putting all of our resources in supporting those parents, because it is what they're doing to support the child that is going to bring what we call the new earth into reality, because it is these children who are bringing this new earth that we talk about. So it's very important that we support the parents so they're doing the physical healing and clearing, the mental clearing, because a lot of people have mental issues that we get passed on to their children. And then, of course, all the spiritual connection that we're all starting to remember again, that we didn't always remember, and we called it whatever negative terms like witchcraft, demons, devil, angels, all that. All those terms are all, to me, sometimes judgments from old ways of doing things. And I feel like we are now starting to recategorize, are dark spirits really dark, or were they actually vengeful because you took out all their homes, the trees, right? These are deeper conversations we should be having, because we are not alone here in this planet. We are here with animals and plants. And so those are also spirits. And so this deeper conversation is our relationship with our environment and the spirits around us is this deeper spiritual connection that our children are trying to make with us when they come through the physical vessel of the mother and father. And I say this because the father is very important in bringing these children into life. And so I want this to be a conversation of fathers, you're 50% of bringing children into life. So whenever you're under 50%, that child doesn't come through, that's your issue. That means that we as men fathers have to address our issues and not put all of it on the woman. And this is why, we are having this discussion earlier. A doula by herself just looks like a transactional job that someone hires just for the child labor part. But what we're trying to say, myself included, we're fertility doctors to make sure that we support the conception all the way to the childbirth and beyond the childbirth. Because if we brought that child in, we are also fathers and mothers in a way to this child. And so we want to make sure that that child is getting the most adequate support in living this life. One small thing I want to say is there's a reason why children are born unprotected and needs the mother and father protection. Because they're animals. You guys know this. Reptilians do this a lot. Reptiles are born in an egg, and when they're born and they come out of their egg, their parents are nowhere to be seen. You guys seen turtles on the beach? Thousands of turtles get a leg. And guess what? The first thing they do is get on the beach before you get eaten by a fucking bird. That's day one of a turtle's life, right? So they come in, they better have a shell. They better be able to swim. Because if they're like sitting there waiting for milk, they're going to get eaten in an instant, right? So certain animals are built to day one run for their life. Certain mammals, and we call them mammals because they are choosing to drink from the mammary glands, which is basically breastfeeding, is they actually need that milk to level up to support themselves by themselves. That means that the milk is necessary by the mother for them to go from an unprotected child to a protected, self-protected child, right? That means that it is so important, y'all. Let me repeat this. It's so important that in the first 7 years of a child's life, the parents are the number one protection of this very difficult life. And so if we're not there, both men and women, fathers and mothers, protecting the child, it's our fault because that child is born without any protection. You guys have seen this, right? We've all seen kids coming out, unless you're Buddha and Jesus. None of us are born with support in our childbirth. And so that's very important. When we were having this discussion earlier, is that parents, please protect your children. Many children are being kidnapped. And so it is our place to protect really divine gods being reborn into this planet to really bring this new earth into higher vibrational. So I think it's very important that we see our collective understanding of childbearing as a way for our civilization, our consciousness to evolve. Because if our whole civilization stopped having babies right now, everything that we know today would be it. There's no way to pass
It's
on
over.
wisdom.
It's
Exactly.
game over.
It's game over.
But that's Handmaid's Tale. That's Children of Men.
Children, yeah.
The thing is, if we as a society and women stop having children, it's over for everyone. It's done.
Exactly.
And we can't let that happen.
Yes. So this is why.
That's the work.
And this is why, y'all, this is such a big deal for both of us, because we recognize that it is not a transactional thing. It is actually a community that we're building so that when we get to the childbearing finally, it's much easier. The fact, right?
Because the whole thing, what I was going to say to what you were just saying earlier is we fail and we've lost not just our elders, but village. Ooh. It wasn't just mother and father. Yes, thank God, 50-50, 100-100 protection. Right after that, what we all need and what we're all missing is village.
Yes.
Community, protection. Elders on the lookout there, protecting the babies, men hunting, women with the children protecting, gathering, getting the fruits, weaving, braiding, teaching, fishing. Like it was a whole thing that I would say the Mediterranean Sea, Italy, they do a good job. It just feels like children are in the fields picking olives and tomatoes, and it's, you know, a sunny day in the fields. But I say this to say, if you take humans' ability away to participate in community in that way, why have children? Why continue? Like there's nothing to really look forward to. But when we all see the part of the dog and the child and the mother and the father and the grandmother and the grandfather and the great-grandfather and the cousin and the uncle and the niece and the nephew, it's like, oh, we're all pieces. We're all parts of this puzzle. That's, I think, why I protect so much of community and the work that I do, because how I say it to clients and my friends that don't understand or struggle maybe to understand why I do what I do and how I do it is, the thing is, we would all have an easier life if mothers that struggled with postpartum depression got the support and love and rehabilitation and remineralization they all needed to be better, safer, stronger, wiser parents. Without someone else caring for someone giving life, it's really hard to regenerate yourself, feed, breastfeed, continue to be a wife to a husband, and maybe take care of other children. So it's imperative, like healthcare, wellness, it's not optional. It's not even a luxury, it's a necessity. It's as necessary as drinking water, eating food, sleeping. It's remembering yourself.
Yes, yes. And I feel like it's so important. Like you're saying, we've heard this before. It takes a village to raise children.
It takes a village.
Takes a village. And this is, I think, also part of the deeper problem that we have in the collective space. I think the internet has made us way expansive in our way to connect with others around the whole world. Yet the major problem we're having is how many of us know the neighbors next door to
Right?
us?
How strange and bizarre is that? I saw that the most for me in Paris. I was like, I want to know my Parisian neighbors. Okay, the language barrier. Okay, I'm not gonna knock. Okay, this whole time I'm not gonna even know who like. It was so bizarre. So then when I came back to the States, same thing. But the thing is, it's like we live in neighborhoods, but we travel away from our neighborhoods to be in other people's neighborhoods to have community when like we have a built-in one that just not activated.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really interesting. It's to me a little bit from my parents' upbringing, because I'm sure if I was in Vietnam, my parents would be talking to all their neighbors, right? So it's funny, like my dad talked to a few Vietnamese neighbors, and he worked on the yard a lot, so all the neighbors came by, right? But when I lived there, to me I was like, oh, I'm just passing by, Dad. I may not stay here forever, and so to me, like Katie Houston was not home. And then he passed, and he's like, this is your home now, and I was like, oh shit,
Holy cow.
I'm a homeowner now.
Dang. Okay.
Yes, that's how I felt. Like, how did I get here? And so when I was working out in the yard, so many neighbors came by and say, where's the old man that used to work out here? And I was like, dude, he passed. He's my father. I am now him. You know? And
Wow.
and it was really interesting just because so many people didn't talk to my dad because he didn't speak English to them. And all the neighbors who knew him because he was very consistent. Every day at the same time, he walked the dog and worked on the yard every morning. And so many adults and parents would wait for their kids out in their yard. And so they would see my dad work there consistently every day at the same time for 20 years. So that kind of created like a connection with this man that most people really didn't know his name, right? But when I started working there, they all came up as if they knew my father. And that's when I realized, whoa, my dad connected with them, but didn't connect with them. You know? And so for me,
wow.
I was like, so when the first few weeks that I ended up inheriting the house, I looked around in my front yard and I look around and go, I don't know a single neighbor here. They've only come up to me because of Dad. And now I have to like put on my big boy pants and walk around and start to connect.
Yeah.
So the other day I was working my car and I was missing a tool, and my front neighbor who had just moved in recently, he didn't speak much English. They're Colombian. And so I spoke to him and he was able to understand, and he like helped me out. And I helped him out. I gave him some sugarcane juice. And he's
Nice.
like, oh, I like the juice, but give me the cane. I'll grow it. Okay.
Oh,
So, like, I can
wow.
tell who grows what. So I could tell he knew what he was doing. So I gave him a
Cool.
cane. But that was to me like my relationship to my front neighbor. And so now I'm starting to realize. And then my next door neighbor said the same thing about my dad. And he helped my dad a few times. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's time for me to like get to know my neighbors. It hasn't happened that much. There's definitely moments where I get really nervous. Just a random person. Hi, I'm your neighbor.
Yeah. You lead with cookies. It's a whole soiree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Meet your neighbors. I want to make being neighbors cool again.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, please.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm a cool neighbor. I'm also a cool host, but also like I need to know you, and I'm vetting and I'm watching you. But right after that, I'm
Yeah.
friendly, and I think that's why block party. Ready?
Yes.
Neighborhood is village.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because they've deactivated neighborhoods and activated our third eye and black screens and everything that we love and all of our dopamine. We love it. Us as adults, I'll say it. I love it. I love it. That's why it's so hard for me to put down my phone. But it's also hard for my peers. I just see like it's just so easy to be like on the phone. So that's what's stopping us from our immediate village. But I would like to host block parties and like give cookies to neighbors. That's just nice. Here's a brownie, you know?
We've seen so many movies. We're like, hey, I'm your new neighbor. Here's some food, right?
Here's food. Give me some sugar. I am your neighbor.
Ooh, that's
Come
a
on.
good one. I got you some sugar over here.
Come on. Outcast said it the best. So, yeah. Village is the neighborhood. Let's activate.
Exactly. So, going back to just the idea of healthcare, I think what's really detrimental to us in really what I call Western society is the division and recategorizing of life, where now we don't see each other as whole humans, but we see each other as like, who are you? What can you give me? Or what can you offer me? And can we be friends if you offer it to me, right?
It's that.
Yes.
Ah.
I feel that sometimes when you're like...
I feel that often. And I haven't lived there, but like it's kind of that feeling of LA, or people have said like fakeness.
Ooh, dang.
Ooh. It's a hot take.
It's true. It's true.
Okay, I got this probably from you, but the point is authenticity is felt. Real recognizes real, respect is respect, but it's a feeling. It's someone you look someone square in the eyeballs. So like if you're coming into spaces and you're not leading with that, it's felt. Period.
Yeah.
You can't fake the funk. The proof is in the pudding.
Exactly. So I do feel like, we probably grew up in the generation that was still playing outside and block parties. We were having our own block parties.
Really?
I was a few neighborhoods I did it, not all the neighborhoods. I moved around a lot in my childhood. So there's one or two neighborhoods where like us cousins or the one or two neighbors would be playing like some kind of either... I didn't play soccer. I played either rollerblades. We didn't play hockey. That would be a fun one to play. Not
Scooter?
hockey, but rollerblade hockey.
Oh, cool.
We didn't have scooters.
Yeah.
We had those like little
Bicycles.
small Jeep Cherokee.
Oh,
the
those
small
are cool.
like
Yeah.
battery operated
Those
cars.
were fly. I had a go-kart like that.
Yeah, you go.
I was on top of the world. Of course. Duh, me.
But yeah, I feel like that was like the last time that, and I remember Stranger Things in that show because it reminds me of the 80s kids who were like hanging out in the neighborhood and they knew how to like get to each other by bike.
It's a good depiction, right?
Yeah. I remember going to my friend's house when I was in Irvine in California during like junior high school. Junior high school is when you're too cool for bikes, but junior high was still cool when we were biking and going to our friend's house that was like a block or two away, and we didn't need our parents to drive there, right? Today, like I don't know that kids are going to their friends' houses. They're just probably FaceTiming each other, and that's about it. They're playing games together.
And it's like, really?
Hey, watch me play on YouTube
That's
for like
what we're
hours.
doing? I was an active kid. I was screaming, jumping, cartwheeling, painting,
Still are.
cooking.
Still are.
Absolutely yes.
I love this life. And the thing is, it's like the privilege of not going to college and the privilege of going to college. I like it's that I got to break out of the mold and like do all of the passions I've ever wanted to do. So like I feel like as a kid you get that endless options. Do you want to be in band or orchestra? Do you want to do sports or arts? Do you want to like left hand or right hand? Like it's just 6-7. It's just all of it. So the point is I guess what I'm trying to say is kids should be leading classrooms and adults should be students.
Ooh.
And vice versa. And it feels like this because it's so much the other way. And kids are bombarded by 36 vaccines And so they don't have a fighting chance. But those that know and are enlightened and awakened conscious beings, you guys know who you are and you know what I'm saying, and thank you for listening. But the point is that that's why it feels so wonky and hard and unpalatable and undigestible. And we have to do something like, we remember too, anything. It's all like, if we start to separate our body, our mind from memory, man, but it's all what we're taught because we're not listening and leading and letting babies lead. And I'm not saying boss baby and just like leave it up to children who don't know, but giving children platforms so they can actually tell us what they came here to do. Because if they're going to attack, and whoever they are, the fertility conversation, pool, IVF, et cetera, it's imperative once the children are here, they're safe and can articulate and voice everything they're trying to tell us from the other side, past lives, and maybe prophesy. Who knows? Children are brilliant, but I feel so often they're dampened, dulled, medicined out, and it's just unfortunate. You heard it here first, folks.
And this is why the conversation of community is so important to us. You guys know we do Sacred Bites, which is our community with food. So we got one coming up December 9th, y'all. Making pho, okay? Ancestral food and medicine from the homeland.
Come on.
And you guys all know, I hear this all the time. Oh, you're Vietnamese? I love your pho. Fucking come here and eat it now. Fucking come here and eat it, because I'm so tired of being like described as the pho guy because I'm Vietnamese.
So Charlie,
now,
we love you.
Yes, thank you.
You can be the pho guy. You're a cool pho guy.
For real, I'm
For
cool.
real, see that? Fucking come on.
Yeah. Yes. Nobody's fucking around here.
Come on. For real.
But then we also have, our camping community, which we've had an awesome camping experience, and we're only making it better and better. Soon, actually, most of us will probably be camping most of the time and living in these houses some of the time. That'll be our city homes where we're actually living in camping.
Absolutely, yes.
But this is important for us, this conversation of community. We're talking about a healthcare community here, right? Blossom and I are we're coworkers. We are here for parents and for children. And that is our niche in healthcare spaces. And I think we can't really talk about it enough, just because we have done such a disservice to us as humans by looking down at the childbirth process. Yet, I don't say we are excited about the abortion process, but the abortion process is spoken about way more than the childbirth process. And that to me is a problem, y'all. That to me is a problem. If we're talking more about killing babies in the womb than actually bringing babies into the world, we have a destruction problem and not a creation problem. You can have this conversation deeper when we talk about what is considered creation energy. We've talked about this as divine energy, and what we consider destructive energy, which sometimes we often give it to the devil and the dark ones. But in many Eastern traditions, just like in the Hindu traditions or many recently native tradition, destruction comes before the renewing. That means that destruction is not separate and it's not a bad thing. Actually, destruction is needed to open up space for new things to come in. So that is important for us, because we are seeing the beginning of destruction of this healthcare system. COVID was the giant bale of straw that broke the camel's back, and we're still wondering, why is the camel not walking, right? Because the camel's broken, y'all. Healthcare is broken, and I think you're now seeing stuff like RFK Jr., other people coming in and really suing the healthcare industry because they have so many lawyers to protect them from us calling them out on the things that they are being a little shady about. And so, the reason why many of us are really exhausted about the healthcare industry is because we feel alone in the healthcare industry. I left healthcare 20 years back. I was very alone. I thought people thought I was crazy for leaving. I haven't had healthcare insurance in over 10 years. I haven't been paid for a doctor for any medical practices because 100% believe that I would pick up more trash that I would heal from in the medical space. And I'm a doctor of acupuncture, Chinese medicine. This is very, very hard for me to say this, but I lost all faith in medical healthcare practices a long time ago when I experienced heavy, I grew up with a lot of acne issues, cystic acne. My face was blowing up like volcanoes. No one has ever been able to fix it. I've done Accutane, y'all. Accutane is great for the time you're taking it. Once you're off of it, it comes back because you didn't fix your problem. You're just suppressing the problem. And it was actually in healing a lot of my own emotional issues and my organs. And no one talks about detoxing and flushing systems out in the West. That is destruction before the renewal. We see it every year in every season. It's called winter season, when everything gets destroyed to prepare for the spring season for the renewal. And we are moving into winter and spring as this podcast is finally coming into kind of like its first year. We're kind of ending in December, and we really wanted to kind of go really hard on the topics we really want to address, because I think 2026, we had time to kind of have a deeper conversation about who we are. But I think now we're ready to tackle healthcare systems, bringing community into healthcare, creating communities around wellness and healthcare. And that is why next year we're really excited to bring in more people to interview that are in the healthcare space in whatever capacity to really tackle this conversation. You all should be educated in what healthcare is to you. You all should know the different modalities available to you. That is true. Get a second, third opinion. If you're getting a second opinion from the same people who went to the same school, learning about the same prescription, you're not getting a second opinion. You're getting the same opinion from a different person. And we need to get second opinions from different modalities, because it is second, third, fourth opinions like Ayurveda, TCM, native sciences, and all our native medicines are actually on the same opinion, then Western medicine is at fault. And, that's a really hard thing to say. I'm not throwing the entire bathwater with the baby, but shit, y'all. Unless you broke your leg and cut your foot off and cut your fingers off, there's no need necessarily to go into Western medicine. I came back from shingles. I had shingles all over my arm. I definitely don't want to show it, but I didn't go to Western medicine. I went straight to my acupuncturist doctor. He gave me herbs, gave me topicals, and within less than a week, the shingles on my arm was gone. Where today in Western medicine, shingles is a big problem. People take years taking medicine to get rid of shingles. I got it done in less than a week, y'all.
Wow.
With my own medicine. So all I'm trying to say is you have options outside of the medical healthcare system, and we're telling you there's communities out there. So if you're afraid, find a community. We are here for you. If you guys want to reach out to us, either DM us, talk to us through our show. This is important for us because next year we're going to be finding panels on locations. We got a couple locations we're looking to do panels, but we're going to have a deep down conversation with all of your audiences. Sit down in person so we're not AI. We're not computers made up by a system, but we are humans sitting at a spa, at a wellness center, and we're having the deeper conversation of what does health look like when we are no longer using the Western healthcare allopathic system, right? So that's what is in the future for us in our show. We're really excited to really go to that next level because you guys have had a chance to really hear our opinions, and it is now finally our turn to really kind of say the truth, how deep our opinion goes. And when I say I am not a fan of Western medicine, y'all, I'm allergic and very afraid of going to a hospital. That's how bad it is for me I would rather go sit in the cold right now with no clothes on than to actually go to a hospital and have someone treat me in anything. So, that's again where I'm coming from and why I take my practice and my medicine very seriously, because if I have any inclination that I could send you to Western doctors to have something fixed, I do not believe enough in my own medicine. So I really believe that I have to go 100% into it.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Medicine from our hands. We hope you guys have an incredible holiday. Thank you, Charlie, for expressing your deep perspective on healthcare at large. Very important. I hope everyone's just taking their health seriously. I hope, you guys are more in on this conversation on wellness, because we can learn from one another and we can share our medicines. I love you. We love you. We're so grateful for your support. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. Leave a comment and leave a comment for us. If you have any questions, reach out, DM. And also come see us at Sacred Bites, 4 to 7 on Sunday. And we'd love to see you.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. Until next time.
Peace.
Peace.